Life is never free from problems. Some are small, like a missed bus or a forgotten deadline. Others cut deep, like losing a job, a broken relationship, or financial struggles that keep you awake at night. When problems strike, your mind often becomes restless. You replay mistakes, imagine worst-case scenarios, and worry about things you cannot control. Peace of mind feels impossible. But here's the hidden truth. The real battle is not outside, it's inside. If your mind is restless, even the smallest challenge feels overwhelming. But if your mind is calm, even the heaviest burden feels lighter. Usually, here on Audiobook 101, we bring you summaries of the world's best books on success, wealth, mindset, and personal growth. But today is something special. This time, we bring you not just a summary, but a complete original audiobook created by Audiobook 101 itself. This is The Peaceful Mind Formula: How to Solve Life's Problems, a wisdom guide designed to help you solve problems and live with peace of mind. And here's something even better. This audiobook is short and complete. In just about 30 minutes, you'll hear the full Peaceful Mind Formula. Practical, powerful steps you can finish in one sitting and carry with you for life. In this audiobook, you'll discover why problems are not your enemies, but your teachers. How to calm the storm inside before acting outside. A practical step-by-step formula for solving life's problems. Habits and tools that create lasting inner peace. And how to turn struggles into strength and wisdom. Before we dive in, don't forget to check out the other audiobook summaries we've uploaded here on Audiobook 101, filled with timeless lessons on success, wealth, mindset, and personal growth. So, if you've ever felt overwhelmed, anxious, or trapped by life's challenges, stay with us. Because by the end of this audiobook, you'll understand that peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is the ability to face them with clarity and a steady heart. Let's begin the journey. Chapter 1. The Nature of Problems. Let me tell you a little secret. Everyone wants a life without problems. We dream of that perfect day when everything finally goes smoothly. No stress, no fights, no struggles. But here's the truth. That day never comes. Life is like a river. Sometimes it flows gently. Sometimes the water gets rough and full of rocks. Problems are those rocks. You can't control whether they appear, but you can learn how to move around them. Think back to your own life. Remember a time you solved a tough problem? Maybe it was passing an exam you thought you would fail. Or maybe it was surviving heartbreak when you thought your world had ended. At the time, it felt unbearable. But looking back now, didn't that problem make you stronger? Didn't it teach you something you wouldn't have learned otherwise? That's the real truth. Problems are not punishments. They are teachers. Let me share a short story. There was once a farmer whose horse ran away. The neighbors cried, "Oh, how unlucky!" But the farmer simply said, "Maybe." A week later, the horse returned, with 3 wild horses beside it. The neighbors shouted, "What great luck!" Again, the farmer said, "Maybe." Soon after, the farmer's son tried to ride one of the wild horses, but he fell and broke his leg. The neighbors gasped, "Terrible luck!" The farmer calmly replied, "Maybe." A month later, soldiers came to the village, taking all young men to war, but they left the farmer's son because of his broken leg. The neighbors finally understood. What seemed like a problem was actually protection. That is the nature of problems. They are not always what they seem. Sometimes they arrive as obstacles, but later you realize They were guiding you to something better. So the first step in the peaceful mind formula is this: change how you see problems. Stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is this here to teach me?" When you see problems as teachers, your mind becomes calmer. You stop fighting reality, and you start learning from it. And that is the beginning of wisdom. Chapter 2. The first step, calming the storm inside. Imagine this. You're driving a car through heavy rain. The road is slippery, thunder is loud, and lightning flashes across the sky. You're nervous, gripping the steering wheel tightly. Then suddenly, your windshield fogs up. Now tell me, what is more dangerous? The storm outside, or the fact that you cannot see clearly inside? Most of us live like that. Problems are the storm outside, but the real danger is the fog inside our own mind. When fear, anger, or stress clouds our thoughts, even small issues feel impossible to handle. That is why the very first step in the peaceful mind formula is simple. Calm the storm inside before you act outside. Let me tell you a short story. There was once a king who called his wise men and asked, "What is the greatest power a human can have?" One said, "Money." Another said, "Strength." A third said, "Knowledge." But the oldest man smiled and said, "The greatest power is a peaceful mind, because with it you can use money, strength, and knowledge wisely. Without it, all three will destroy you." Think about it. When your mind is restless, you make poor decisions. You say things you later regret. You rush into actions that cause more problems than they solve. But when your mind is calm, you see solutions that were invisible before. So how do we calm the storm inside? It doesn't need complicated techniques. Here are 3 simple practices anyone can try. Pause and breathe. When you feel overwhelmed, stop. Take a deep breath. Even 10 slow breaths can quiet racing thoughts. Step back. Sometimes the best solution is to walk away for a moment. A short walk, a cup of tea, or even sitting silently can reset your mind. Ask yourself a new question. Instead of, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What's the best small step I can take right now?" You see, peace is not about escaping the storm. Peace is about clearing your windshield so you can drive safely through it. So the first step in solving any problem is not action, it is attention. Attention to your inner world. Once your mind is calm, the right action will reveal itself like a road appearing in clear daylight. Remember, a calm mind is a wise mind, and wisdom is the greatest tool for solving problems. Chapter 3. Understanding the root cause. Imagine this. Your ceiling is dripping water. Every morning you place a bucket under the leak. The bucket fills, you empty it, and the next day it fills again. Now, if you only keep emptying the bucket, are you solving the problem? Number. The real problem is not the water in the bucket, it's the hole in the roof. Until you fix the hole, the problem will keep coming back. This is how most of us deal with life. We spend energy wiping away symptoms, but we never look deeper for the root cause. Let me share a story. Once a young monk complained to his master, "Every time I meditate, I feel restless. I try to push away the thoughts, but they return again and again." The master smiled and asked, "If a dog keeps entering your house, will you spend your life chasing it away? Or will you one day ask, 'Where is the hole in my wall that lets the dog in?'" The monk understood. His problem was not the thoughts. His problem was not noticing the doorway that allowed them in. In the same way, when we face difficulties, arguments, stress, financial troubles, we must ask, what is the root cause? Where is the hole? Maybe the root is fear. Maybe it's lack of planning. Maybe it's trying to please everyone. Once you see the root clearly, solving the problem becomes simpler. Here are 2 questions you can ask yourself whenever you face a problem. What's really causing this? Go beyond the surface. Is this a repeating pattern? If the same type of problem keeps showing up, the root hasn't been fixed yet. Remember, you cannot solve a problem if you're only treating the surface. To find peace, you must look deeper. When you fix the root, the problem does not return. And when you stop the leak in the roof, you no longer need buckets. Chapter 4. The Mindset Shift from Victim to Master. There are 2 kinds of people in this world when problems appear. The first kind says, "Why does this always happen to me? Life is unfair. I can't do anything about it." This is the victim mindset. A victim believes the world controls them and they have no power. The second kind says, "Yes, this is difficult. But what can I learn? What can I do next?" This is the master mindset. A master believes that even if they can't control everything, they can always control their response. Let me tell you a story. 2 brothers grew up in the same poor family. Their father was an alcoholic. One brother also became an alcoholic, blaming his father for ruining his life. The other brother became successful, never touching alcohol, also saying, "I learned from my father. I saw what not to do." Same problem, 2 different responses. One lived as a victim. The other lived as a master. The truth is, we all face pain. But pain does not decide our future. Our mindset does. So how do you shift from victim to master? Here are 3 simple steps. Catch the thought. Notice when your mind says, "Why me?" That's the voice of the victim. Change the question. Instead of "Why me?" ask, "What can I do now?" This opens new possibilities. Take one small action. Masters don't wait for perfect solutions. They start with one step, and that step builds confidence. Remember this: problems don't make you weak or strong. Your response does. When you stop blaming life and instead start shaping your response, you step out of the role of victim and into the role of master. And once you do, even the heaviest problems cannot crush your spirit. Chapter 5. The Formula of Problem Solving. Imagine you're standing at the bottom of a tall mountain. At first glance, it feels impossible to climb, but the secret is simple. You don't jump to the top. You take one step, then another, and before you know it, you're halfway up. Problems are like mountains. They look impossible when you stare at the whole thing. But when you break them into smaller steps, they become climbable. That's why the Peaceful Mind formula gives you a 5-step method to solve any problem with clarity. Step 1. Define the problem clearly. Most people get stuck because they don't even know what the real problem is. They only see the confusion around it. Write it down in one sentence. For example, not "My life is a mess, but I need to find a stable job." Step 2. Break it into smaller parts. A big problem is just many small problems sitting together. Instead of "I need a new job," break it into "Update my CV, apply to 5 jobs, prepare for interviews." Smaller parts feel doable. Step 3. Imagine possible solutions. Open your mind. Brainstorm without judgment. Sometimes the first idea isn't the best, but the 5th idea might save you. Masters always give their mind space to explore. Step 4. Take one small step calmly. Don't wait for perfect timing. Don't wait for confidence. Just take one small action today. Action clears fear like sunlight clears fog. Step 5. Learn and adjust. No plan is perfect. If one step doesn't work, don't panic. Learn, adjust, and try again. Every failure is not the end. It's feedback. Let me share a quick story. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, once said, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. I discovered 1,000 ways that did not work." Imagine if he had given up after the first 10 tries. The world might still be dark. This is the formula. Define, break down, imagine, act, adjust. Simple steps, repeated with patience. And the best part? Each time you solve a problem using this formula, your confidence grows. You begin to realize no mountain is too high when you climb it one step at a time. Chapter 6. The Enemies of Peaceful Thinking. Even if you know the formula for solving problems, there are 3 sneaky enemies that can steal your peace and block your clarity. They are fear, anger, and overthinking. Fear, the shadow that freezes you. Fear is like a shadow. It grows bigger when the light is behind it, but when you face it directly, it shrinks. Think of a time you delayed making a phone call, giving a speech, or asking an important question because of fear. The longer you waited, the scarier it became. But when you finally did it, you thought, "Was that all? Why was I so scared?" Fear tricks you into standing still while the problem grows. The cure: action in small steps. Even the tiniest step forward weakens fear's grip. Anger, the fire that burns you first. Anger feels powerful in the moment, but it burns the one who holds it. There's a story of a man who carried hot coals in his hand, planning to throw them at his enemy. But before he could throw, the coals burned his own skin. That's anger. When you respond in anger, you say words you regret, you break relationships, and you create new problems. The cure? Pause and breathe. Step back before speaking or acting. A calm word often solves what anger destroys: overthinking. The endless loop. Overthinking is like running on a treadmill. You feel tired, but you haven't moved an inch. Have you ever stayed up all night replaying the same thought? You imagine 10 possible disasters, but none of them actually happen. Overthinking doesn't solve problems. It only drains energy. The cure? Decide and act. Make the best choice you can with what you know now, then adjust later if needed. Fear, anger, and overthinking. These are the 3 enemies of peaceful thinking. They turn small problems into heavy burdens. But when you learn to face fear, pause anger, and escape overthinking, your mind becomes lighter. And with a light mind, problems lose their power. Chapter 7. Tools for a Peaceful Mind. A farmer doesn't wait for weeds to grow before he starts working. Every day, he waters the plants and pulls out the weeds while they are small. That's how he keeps his garden healthy. Your mind is the same. If you don't care for it daily, problems grow like weeds. But with simple tools, you can keep your mind peaceful and ready for any challenge. Here are 3 powerful tools. 1. Journaling, emptying the cup. Imagine carrying a cup full of water all day. If you never pour it out, eventually it will spill. That's what happens with your thoughts. Journaling is simply emptying the cup. Every night, take 5 minutes to write down your worries, your ideas, or what happened during the day. You don't need perfect grammar. You don't need to be a writer. Just write. The paper listens without judgment, and your mind feels lighter. 2. Gratitude the light in the dark. Have you noticed that even on bad days there is always something small to be grateful for? Maybe a friend called. Maybe you enjoyed a cup of tea. Gratitude doesn't remove problems, but it gives you strength to face them. When you focus on what you have instead of what you lack, your heart becomes calmer. Try this. Each night, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Even on your hardest day, you'll find something. And slowly, your perspective changes. 3. Reflection. The quiet teacher. In a noisy world, reflection is rare. But silence often teaches more than noise. Spend 10 minutes sitting quietly each day. No phone, no distraction. Just breathe and ask yourself, what did I learn today? Did I live peacefully? Where can I do better tomorrow? Reflection turns experience into wisdom. Without it, we repeat the same mistakes. With it, we grow calmer and wiser each day. These 3 tools, journaling, gratitude, and reflection, are simple, but they are powerful. They are like sharpening your axe before cutting wood. A sharp axe makes the work easier, and a peaceful mind makes problems easier to solve. Make them part of your daily routine, and you will discover that peace is not something you chase. Peace is something you build, one small habit at a time. Chapter 8. Relationships, Conflicts, and Harmony. Most of life's problems wear a human face. It could be a friend who betrayed you, a boss who disrespects you, or a family member who misunderstands you. We can solve money problems with work. We can solve skill problems with practice. But relationship problems, they test our patience, our emotions, and our heart. Once, 2 neighbors argued over a tree that stood between their houses. One said, "It's on my land, so the fruits are mine." The other said, "But the branches hang over my house, so the fruits are mine." The fight grew so bitter that they stopped speaking for years. One day, a storm came and knocked the tree down. Both men looked at the fallen tree and realized they had wasted years of friendship fighting over something that no longer existed. Conflicts often look big, but time reveals how small they really were. 3 steps to solve people problems. Listen before speaking. Most arguments are not about the issue, but about not being heard. When someone feels understood, their anger softens. Listen fully without preparing your comeback. Choose peace over winning. Ask yourself, do I want to be right, or do I want to be at peace? Sometimes letting go of the need to win is the greatest victory. Forgive and release. Holding on to anger is like carrying a backpack full of rocks. It only weighs you down. Forgiveness doesn't mean the other person was right. It means you choose not to let their actions control your peace. Harmony is not the absence of disagreement. It is the art of disagreeing without destroying. In every relationship, family, friends, work, problems will appear. But if you practice listening, choosing peace, and forgiving, you turn conflicts into lessons and relationships into sources of strength. Because at the end of life, we rarely regret the problems we solved. We regret the people we lost because of problems we refused to solve. Chapter 9. Living the Peaceful Mind Formula. Think about all the chapters we have journeyed through together. We began by understanding that problems are not punishments, but teachers. We learned the importance of calming the storm inside before trying to fix the storm outside. We explored how to find the root cause, how to shift our mindset from victim to master, and how to use the 5-step formula to solve problems with clarity. We uncovered the three enemies of peace: fear, anger, and overthinking, and discovered daily tools like journaling, gratitude, and reflection to protect our mind. Finally, we faced the hardest challenge of all: people problems and the path to harmony through listening, choosing peace, and forgiveness. Now the question is, how do you live all of this, not just read it? Living the Peaceful Mind formula is not about one big decision. It's about small daily choices. Choosing to pause when fear or anger rises. Choosing to ask, "What can I learn?" instead of "Why me?" Choosing gratitude when life feels empty. Choosing to listen when conflict appears. Choosing to forgive so your heart stays light. These small choices, repeated daily, create a strong and peaceful mind. There's a famous story about the Chinese bamboo tree. When you plant the seed, nothing seems to happen for the first year, or the second, or even the third and fourth year. People may laugh and say, "You are wasting time." But in the fifth year, something magical happens. The bamboo shoots up to 80 feet tall in just 6 weeks. Did it really grow in 6 weeks? Number. It was growing all along, underground, building roots strong enough to hold its great height. Peace of mind works the same way. At first, you may not notice big changes, but as you keep practicing the formula, calming your mind, solving problems step by step, and choosing peace, your roots grow stronger. And one day, you realize you are unshakable. Remember, peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is the strength to face them with clarity and a steady heart. Every problem you solve with this formula makes you wiser. Every storm you pass through with calmness makes you stronger. And every time you choose peace, you inspire others around you to do the same. So live the Peaceful Mind formula, not as something you read once, but as something you practice every day. And you will discover that no matter what life throws your way, you already hold the key to peace. Conclusion. We have reached the end of the Peaceful Mind formula, how to solve life's problems, created and brought to you by Audiobook 101. Through this journey, we discover that problems are not our enemies. They are our teachers. We learned that peace does not come from escaping problems, but from facing them with a calm and steady mind. We practiced the formula, defining the problem, breaking it down, imagining solutions, taking action, and adjusting as we go. We also uncovered daily tools, journaling, gratitude, reflection, that strengthen our inner peace, and we saw how harmony in relationships comes from listening, choosing peace, and forgiving. The lesson is simple yet powerful. Peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is the power to face them with wisdom and clarity. So whenever life feels heavy, remember, you hold the formula within you. Every problem is a chance to grow. Every challenge is an invitation to strengthen your spirit. And every choice for peace makes your life lighter, calmer, and stronger. Thank you for listening to this audiobook created specially by Audiobook 101. Usually, we bring you summaries of the world's best books on success, wealth, mindset, and personal growth. But today was different. Today, we brought you a complete audiobook, a wisdom guide designed just for you. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to check out the other audiobook summaries we've uploaded here on Audiobook 101. Each one is filled with timeless lessons to help you live a better, stronger, and more peaceful life. And if this audiobook touched your heart, share it with someone who might need peace today. Because peace grows stronger when it is shared. Until next time, remember, life will always bring problems, but with a peaceful mind, you can turn every problem into wisdom.